unbelievable effort. That's something that we've been preaching in this program since we've gotten here, is playing hard. There's a lot of things, and it was great to be able to come away with a win, and a whole lot of stuff that we got to improve on off of film after watching the game. But there were a lot of good things that came out of that. Give Portland State credit; they had a good plan. Those guys played extremely hard. We had opportunities to put the game more comfortable lead in the first half. We just couldn't do it. Had some key drops on third down. Great thing about it is offensively, after looking back at it, we had four drives of 10 or more plays, which is an 11-possession game. That's pretty remarkable. I thought our first 18 plays we executed very well. But a lot of stuff to improve on. Had a really good week. Knowing that we're going to Oxford for this road opener in the SEC, we know we've got our work cut out for us. So it'll be an opportunity for us to get better.
First up, we have Bob Holt, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Hey, Chad, how you doing?
Hey, Bob.
I know last year was your first Arkansas Ole Miss game, but if you look at the last 4 years, they've all been kind of wild, high-scoring games. But if you look at last week, by both teams, I thought defenses played pretty well. The offenses maybe went on top of their games. Do you think this might be more of a defensive game, or are you expecting a shootout, or what are you expecting in that regard?
Well, I do. I think that you're right on, Bob, in the fact that both defenses played well last week, and offenses. Maybe they execute the way that they wanted to. I know that they've got two outstanding coordinators that have both been head coaches before, that have been Coach of the Year recipients before, and they've been in these situations before. And they'll have those guys improve. They'll have them ready to go, as we will. And so, I don't know. That's hard. I hadn't looked at it that way, but as far as it being a shootout or a low-scoring game, that's going to be hard to predict. I know that we've got our hands full, and going on the road and winning in this league is hard. And, we've got to make sure we take care of business.
And Arkansas's last SEC win was at Ole Miss a couple of years ago, and there's several guys they're still on the team that they were part of that team. Guys like Sosa and Scoot and Cam Curl and a few others. Do you think that could be a good thing that your guys have experienced some success at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I definitely think that's always a positive, and something that we'll reach for those guys and their leadership. But at the end of the day, as you know as well as I do, this is a completely different team, and to be able to go over on the road in the SEC, I think we've just got to make sure that we take care of ourselves as far as not beating ourselves. That's the biggest thing.
Next up, we'll go to Nate Allen.
Chad, just how much do you feel you can count on Grady and Caps and Mario Bell this week?
Well, we'll continue to evaluate Caps and Jamario Bell today and see where they are. As far as C.J. O'Grady, C.J. practiced yesterday. He was full speed. He looked as good as he did early in camp. So I think that I would expect him to be to be a part of this week.
It also seems like asking a lot for your freshman defensive ends under the circumstances. Just how do you feel about them for this ballgame?
Well, I think that it's a great opportunity to gain them some experience. We recruited them to come in here and make an impact. Since they came in here, they've done that. They started that in the spring, and I think they're fantastic football players that are going to just get better with time. So I'm excited about the opportunities for these young guys.
Thank you.
Next is Tom Murphy, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Hey, good morning, Chad. I was going to ask you drill down a little bit on defensive numbers. And I meant to ask you this Monday, but at your missed tackles and just assignment sound on defense, how would you rate how you guys did in terms of being alignment and assignment sound, and then just missed tackles.
Hey, I thought this, losing the rush lane hurt us more than anything on Saturday. As far as missed tackles, one missed tackle is too many missed tackles. And so we've definitely got to improve on the few missed tackles that we did have. I did think that we tackled well in space at times, but from an assignment standpoint, I know that we lost some technique errors on the back end a couple of times, and especially on some short yardage where they were able to get the ball out in the flats. Got to get better in that area. I think we lost a little bit. There was a few things up front that we got out of our gap, but that happens in the first game, and those are things that you'll improve on each and every week.
Okay, and then further, it looked like you guys, or like Chief, was being pretty aggressive with defensive calls in terms of blitzing guys and stuff. You got a rough number, and is that something that you expect to carry on into this Ole Miss game?
Well, each game you look at the personnel and decide what's the best way you want to attack it, and so I think that varies game to game. But I know that we're going to get a very much improved offensive football team from what we saw on video last week against Memphis. These guys they're very well coached, and Coach Rodriguez, he's been in this situation before, and I know that we're going to get some things that we haven't seen that they didn't show at Ole Miss or at Memphis. And so that just comes with playing games early in the year.
This is Scotty Bordelon of Whole Hog Sports.
Hey, Chad. I remember last week I asked you about Traylon Burks, and you said he's a better person than he is a football player. I'm just curious what it's like to be around him behind the scenes.
Well, with him, as well as with a lot of our players, it's just it's refreshing when you're able to go out to the practice field and be able to interact with those guys and watch their growth and development. Just seeing how hungry they are for just anything you could give them that's going to improve their knowledge. And it's a blessing to be around these guys.
Yeah, excited to be back home. Big week for us this week. SEC opener, home opener. Have a chance to play a night game at home. A lot of respect for Arkansas. We got several good running backs. Interior D-line coming back, senior middle linebacker. So obviously a huge game for us, but excited to be back home and ready to get started.
And we'll get started with Tom Murphy of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Matt, in your opening right there, you just said a couple of good running backs. Rakeem Boyd is one of those. What do you see out of him just in terms of his assets?
Well, I'm just been very impressed. Obviously, I saw it firsthand last year, him being able to run through people and also make them miss. He just does. He just got a knack, and just a very, very good player, hard to get on the ground, and a really good, one of the top backs that we saw last year.
What you saw from the Arkansas defense in that opening game, did it look like John Tavis was bringing a little bit more blitz pressure? And maybe what do you expect to see from them on that?
Yeah, I mean, we struggled against pressure last week, so I expect to see that. Been going against Coach Javis, worked with Coach Javis, so great football coach, and I think he'll do a good job mixing it up. But he's an experienced guy, and he's I do expect to see some pressure. We got a young quarterback and some young players, so I expect him to try to exploit that.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Next, we'll go to Nate Allen.
The offenses for both teams, how much improvement do you see them making going through that game?
Well, I think you always expect to see a improvement from game 1 to game 2. So I you'll definitely see some. Um, I think anytime you're trying to break in new quarterbacks, there's going to be some growing pains there. But there's always the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2, and the greatest teacher is getting out there and doing it and the experience. So I think that you'll see improvement on both teams.
Just given the records in the SEC last year, both teams, how pivotal is really for both teams as far as?
Well, I think obviously it's a new year, so you don't really want to look at last year. So it's new season, and both of us are totally different than we were last year. So I think it's very important because it's the next game, the SEC opener. So it is very important.
Next is Bob Holt there, Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
What's up, Bob? How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, Grayson Gunner, tight end, he's from Mississippi, and his dad played for Ole Miss. He said that Ole Miss offered him a scholarship kind of late in the recruiting process, but by that point he was pretty settled on Arkansas. Did you ever be involved in this recruiting, or kind of what do you think about facing a guy whose dad, played for Ole Miss and all that?
Yeah, Grayson's a great young man, a great family. His dad actually played with my brother. They've done a really nice job, in the pass game, run game. Arkansas typically has always had some really good tight ends. So I think he's no different, and he'll obviously have some extra motivation being from Mississippi, but a tremendous player and a tremendous young man.
And, being part of this series for a while, there's been a lot of crazy high-scoring games. It looked like both defenses played really strong last week. Maybe both offenses were struggling somewhat. Do you expect this could maybe be more of a defensive game than it's been in recent years?
I don't think you ever really know what to expect in this game. It's been pretty crazy, but that's what it looked like. Again, the interior of Arkansas's defensive line is very good with two seniors, and the senior middle linebacker. So I think that they did a really good job of bringing pressure. Didn't give up many big plays. So and the one touchdown, the touchdown they did score was kind of a fluke, kind of scramble and throw it up. So I thought they did a nice job defensively. So I think we'll have our work cut out for us as we try to fix our issues offensively.
Next is Steve Moulton at WGGN.
Hey, Coach, how are you today?
Hey, Steve, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. And in terms of a couple of guys along the Arkansas front, in particular, Bumper Pool, I was wondering, I know the linebacker core, excuse me, Coach, how do you evaluate what you saw in that first game against Portland State defensively from what Arkansas showed there, Coach?
Well, I thought they did a really good job of bringing pressure. They had their third down package where they were able to get home several times and doing a nice job of mixing their field pressures and their boundary pressures. And Bumper was certainly one of those guys that was coming off the edge. I think he had a big hit on the quarterback a few times, if I remember correctly. So I thought they did a good job mixing their pressures. It looked like they were playing fast, and I thought they did a good job.
And in terms of improvement, what have you seen out of Octavius, developmental-wise, Coach?
Or as Cooley?
Yes.
Yeah. He's to me, he's improved. He's improved his overall conditioning. I think he is a physical blocker. He's really improved on knowing what to do, and I'm expecting him to have a great year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
It's going to be all for today, Coach. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.